front of me, I have 4.5 sticks of unsalted butter. And whenever you're making a buttercream frosting, whether it's the Swiss meringue, the Italian meringue, or the basic version like I'm making today, you need to have this at room temperature. So this is going into the bowl of my stand mixer here, and I have a paddle attachment that I'm going to start with. Now, if you don't know what a Swiss meringue buttercream is, well, a Swiss meringue buttercream is a buttercream that's created with egg whites to start, so it's very light and silky. And we're going to achieve something similar to that by creaming this butter with some of the confectioner sugar, and that's the second ingredient here. Now, creaming creates air, and air gives light and loft to the frosting. So I'm going to break up the butter a little bit here, and I have 1.5 cups of confectioner sugar here in my sifter. I'm going to sift out onto a piece of parchment. It's kind of a little trick that I have. It's really easy to get this mixture then into the stand mixer. So the reason you want to sift your confectioner sugar is because you want to avoid these giant lumps here. You can pass through any little lumps with your hand here. And then the beauty of the parchment paper is that you can just pick up the two sides, and I'm just going to reduce the speed down slightly, and you can slowly add in your confectioner sugar. This is the first addition. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to mix this together, or cream it together until it's nice and light and fluffy. If you need to, you can stop down and you can scrape down the side so that all of the confectioner sugar is getting mixed in. Now, if you didn't have one of these stand mixers, you could certainly use a hand mixer to do this. Works just as well. And while this is creaming together, I'm going to sift the rest, or the remaining confectioner sugar. And in total, this recipe has 6.5 cups of confectioner sugar. Like I was mentioning before, with the meringue buttercreams, you're creating meringues in different ways. The Swiss meringue, you have to dissolve sugar with egg whites over a double boiler, which takes time. There's an Italian meringue buttercream, which is creating a sugar syrup and combining that while you whip egg whites on a stand mixer. And then there's a French meringue buttercream, which isn't traditionally used that much, but you can make it, and that's where you add a superfine sugar to egg whites while they're whisking. And then all three of those methods, you need to paddle in that room temperature butter. So it does take quite a bit of time, and this method is really super simple and easy, and you probably have all of the ingredients you need on hand. Our butter and sugar has been creaming together, and now I'm going to add the remaining confectioner sugar. Now you want to reduce the mixer speed down to low and gradually add this. I'm going to give this a little bit of a scrape here. And now I'm going to increase the speed to medium. And to lighten this up, to make it a little bit more similar to a Swiss meringue buttercream, something that has a silkier, lighter texture, I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of milk. But you want to add this gradually, and since your other ingredients are room temperature, you want to make sure that your milk here is at room temperature. You don't want it to be too cold, otherwise what it's going to do is it's going to stiffen up the butter, and it's going to create a grainy appearance here. So slowly, and while the mixer's still on that medium speed, add in your milk. You could also use heavy cream here, that would be totally fine. So that looks good. You can see how white and almost shiny this is, and the texture is really soft, and you can create really nice swoops, because that's what you're looking for, right? When you're decorating a cake or decorating cupcakes, you want some swoopy frosting. So I'm just gonna scrape down the sides a little bit here. And now is the time in which you can really customize the flavor of your frosting. If you like vanilla, if you're a purist, then you can certainly add some vanilla extract. That's what I like, so I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract. You can also customize this in other ways by adding other flavorings. In front of me here, I have different types of citrus zest. There's orange, there's lemon, there's lime. If you had coffee extract on hand, you could add that, almond extract. Any of those flavorings would totally work here. And just because this orange zest is in front of me, I'm gonna add a little bit to my frosting, and I'm gonna make this a creamsicle frosting. I'm gonna mix this just until that zest is incorporated and the frosting is really light and fluffy. So once you get the volume that you desire, once you get that loftiness, you want to turn the mixer down to a lower speed, regardless of whatever type of frosting that you're making. And what this does is it kind of knocks out any big air bubbles so that when you go to frost a cake, you don't hit pockets of air and you don't get little pock marks throughout your frosting. This looks good here. I'm gonna take this off the stand mixer and give it a little bit of a mix by hand. So this is nicely combined, and now, of course, to top your cupcakes. I'm making cupcakes today. I don't know, you guys, if you remember this, but this is one of my favorite little tricks here. Using one of these ice cream scoops, these lever release ice cream scoops, you can perfectly portion out your frosting, and it creates a nice, professional looking top to your cupcakes. If you give the cupcake a little bit of a tap, it evenly frosts the cupcake in a really simple and nice way. And of course, you can finish this off in any way you'd like. Since we're coming up on Valentine's Day, I'm gonna give it a little bit of a dip in some sprinkles. So there you go, guys. A simple buttercream frosting that takes half the amount of time as that Swiss meringue does. So, hey, give it a try. And if you have any kitchen conundrums, baking conundrums, cake conundrums, frosting conundrums, whatever, write in the comment section below, let us know, and have fun with your buttercream frosting, guys.